דף כ"ד עמוד א', we're starting from כ"ג עמוד ב', 2, 4, 6, 7 lines from the bottom. בא מן רב יוסף, ברית רב נחוניה מרב יהודה. רב יוסף, the son of רב נחוניה, ask רב יהודה, מהו שיניח אדם תפילין תחת מרשותיו? Is a man allowed to put tefillin under his head? Meaning, when you're going to sleep, are you allowed to put tefillin under? So, תחת,
leaning.
No, yes, you're sleeping and you want to put the tefillin under. So let's see some reservations. תחת, let's see. תחת מרגלותיו לא כמבוי לי. Put it by the feet, by the legs of a person sleeping is not. שנוהג בהם עניין בזיון, is בושה. כי כמבוי לי, דקמה שני, is תחת מרשותיו מהי. Under his head, what would be the deal? אמר לי, told them, אחי, אמר שמואל, מותר, אפילו אשתו עמו, even if he's back with him in the bed, it's מותר to put it under his head. So this is clear, Shmuel hold, that it's okay to wash the tefillin under your head, even if the wife with him in the bed. the Gemara, מי טבעי.
What does it say? Although the wife.
לא, כבר נראה, בואו נראה הלאה. Because we have some different... מי טבעי, the Brisa said the opposite. לא יניח אדם תפילין תחת מרגלותיו, a man not allowed to put tefillin under his feet. מפני שנוהג בהן מנהג ביזיון. Because it's very embarrassment to put it by the feet. אבל מניחם תחת מרשותיו. He's allowed to put it under his head. However, Brita said very clear, ואם הייתה אשתו עמו, אסור, if his wife was with him, was אסור, not like שמואל. היה מקום שגבוה ג' טפחים או נמוך ג' טפחים, מותר. If it was a high טפחים above the bed or 3 טפחים below the bed, it's a different domain, and even if his wife with him, it's מותר. As I state, very clear we see from the Braita that his wife with him is not allowed to put his tefillin under his head. Tiyuvta de Shmuel, Tiyuvta, that's clear contradiction of the opinion of Shmuel that it's asur even if his wife is with him. The Gemara says, Amar Rava. No, I'm sorry. Well, Shmuel said if his wife with him it's mutar, and the Braita said if his wife with him is asur.
It said it's mutar. Where does it say that it's asur?
Me, the Braita?
Yeah.
ואם הייתה אשתו עמו אסור. Second line from the bottom. Okay. ואם הייתה אשתו עמו אסור, the Braita said אשתו עמו, it's אסור. How come Shmuel says it's מותר? אמר רבא, אף על גב דתניא תיובתא דשמואל, even though we contradict Shmuel from a Braita, yet הלכה כבתי, הלכה would be like him. My time, what's the reason? כל לנינטורי, anything that is by, it's better watching it. תפי עדיף דבר אחד מביזיונים. Meaning it is better to save it better than to have less embark, to protect it better than to have less kavod to that feeling. So therefore, even if he's wife with him in the bed, when a person has that feeling in the bed, it's much more protected versus putting it elsewhere. So even though the Braita said that his wife with him it's asur, but since it's tiktuk to protect that feeling, it's much more chashuv than respecting that feeling. Rabbeinu Yonah explained, usually an Amora in the Gemara cannot argue on a Braita. But since here it's more to be medagdek in mitzvot, to be make sure that feeling will be protected well, therefore is allowed to argue on the Braita.
But we give an answer, why are we not using that answer for Shmuel ובברייתא? גבוה 3 טפחים או נמוך 3 טפחים.
He didn't say גבוה,
So
he didn't say that.
לא. Over there with Shmuel is...
אבל שמואל אמר לא, במיטה מותר. שמואל didn't say below and high. Shmuel says straight on the bed, it's mutar. And now we're going to see now where the location. The Gemara asks now, when the man allowed to put it in the bed, where should be the location? I mean, obviously not on top of his head because it's hard to turn around when he's sleeping. So where it's okay? Amar Rav Yirmiyah ben kar lekeset. Between the pillow to the mattress. Shelo keneged rosho. Not under where he sleeps, rather under the pillow, on the side where he sleeps. The Gemara says, והתני רב חייא מניחן בכובע שתחת מרשותיו. רב חייא says that he's allowed to put it in the tefillin bag under his head. The Gemara says, דמפיק למורשה דכובע לבר.
This is always covered.
Uncovered.
You said the bag.
No, now we said about. The Gemara asked, but Rab Chia said you're allowed to put it in a bag under his head. The Gemara says no, but yet the mafik lemorashet dekoba lebar. We're talking about that he has the kesher of the tefillin sticking out of the bag toward the outside. So if he's sleeping here, the bag is here, the kesher, it's toward the outside, so he's not sleeping mamash on the knot of the tefillin. The Gemara says, Bar Kapara, this Tana, Tzayer lehu bechilta. Doesn't make sense, it's a Tana. Excuse me, he said over here it's Rav Papa, because the Gemara don't give stories on Tanaim like that. Okay, it's Rav Papa, Tzayer lehu bechilta. He used to tie it, their bed used to have a special canopy. So he used to wrap it on the canopy on the bed. Umafik lemorashon lebar, and he left again the knot toward the outside, not toward the bed. So you wrap it outside of the bed, and the knot was away from the bed. Rav Shisha Breder Ravidi, Manach lu asher shifa, used to put it on a bench. Ufari sudra alayu, and he put a cover on the Omar Rav Amnuna, Breder Rav Yosef, Zim Nechada, one time, Ave Kaimna Kamei de Rabba. I was standing in front of Rabba. Ve'amarli, and he told me, Zila iti li tefillin, can you bring my tefillin from my bedroom? And where did I find it? Ben kiseh lekeset, ben kar lekeset, between the pillow to the mattress, shelo keneged rosho, not under his head, just away from his hand over there. Now, ve'avi adana de yom tvila have. I knew that the night before his wife went to the mikveh, and obviously he was with her in bed. He want to teach us halacha lema'aseh, to know that even if his wife with him in the bed, it's okay to put the tefillin under. Halacha lema'aseh, we hold that it's got to be covered on two covers. One tefillin bag, some said it's also considered as a cover, and another cover on top of it. בא מן רב יוסף ברדר רב נחוניה מרב יהודה. שניים שישנים במיטה אחת. Two people are sleeping in the same bed. All this topic we're talking about people who used to sleep naked without clothing. Baruch Hashem, we have pajama. השתבח שמו לעד. Not yet. No, we'll see in a second. So all this Mishnah talking about without clothing. שניים, בא מן רב יוסף ברדר רב נחוניה מרב יהודה. שניים שישנים במיטה אחת, two people are sleeping in the same bed without clothing. מהו שזה יחזיר פניו ויקרא קריאת שמע, וזה יחזיר פניו ויקרא קריאת שמע. Can they look away from each other, turn their back to each other in order to read קריאת שמע, even though their body are touching each other under the covers. אמר להכי אמר שמואל. This is what Shmuel says. ואפילו אשתו עמו. Not only regular people allowed to do it like that, to sleep that, even his wife with him in the bed. It's also mutar to read קריאת שמע when they're facing each other. מתקיף לרב יוסף, אשתו...
When they're facing each other.
The opposite of each other, I'm sorry. מתקיף לרב יוסף, אשתו ולא מבאי אחר. You said even his wife. That means that his wife is much more хамור than somebody else. So we said not only other people allowed to do it, even his wife. But he said it's exactly the opposite. Other Rabbah, אשתו כגופו. His wife is like his body. It doesn't bother him as much because he's used to her, and we're more likely to say for his wife that it's permitted to read Kriyat Shema if they don't face each other, because his wife is less hirurim, less machshavot. Acher, lav kegufo, somebody else, it's not like his body, so will be chances to have more machshavot. There will be more chances to have more machshavot, more hirurim, and therefore we should less likely to say that other people it's permitted. So there is a machloket. According to Rav Shmuel, everybody agreed that the wife it's okay. Shmuel said other people also mutar. Rav Yosef said no. Only wife is
people
mutar.
could be another man that's sleeping.
Yeah, other man. Yeah, obviously other man. Other woman doesn't sleep with her
So
in the
the
bed.
Gemara is ahead of its time.
What? Way ahead. So other people, again, back then I don't think they were so sick as our generation, and therefore that's not the topic. So we have machlokes between Shmuel and Rav Yosef. According to Shmuel, even his wife and also others, his wife, others and even his wife, and according to Rav Yosef, not only his wife is allowed, but other people not allowed. The Gemara Mei TV, שניים שישנים במיטה אחת, we have שפט ברייתא, two people are sleeping in the same bed. זה מחזיר פניו וקורא. The one it's turn his face to the other side and read, וזה מחזיר פניו וקורא, the other one look on the other side and read. ותניא חיתא, now we have another bite to contradict that, not to contradict, הישן במיטה, somebody is sleeping in the bed, ubanav, and either his children, ubne beto, or some other family members sleeping in the same bed, again naked, betzido next to him, הרי זה לא יקרא קריאת שמע, he's not allowed to read קריאת שמע when his body touching their body. אלא אם כן only הייתה טלית מפסקת ביניהם, only if there was a cloth between them, then it's okay to read קריאת שמע. Not cover, no. Something divide. You put a blanket or something in between. I think there was a separation between them. No, nothing like that. They have whatever, any clothes, whatever.
לא, בסדר, בסדר.
ואם היו בניו ובני ביתו קטנים, מותר. However, if they were young, assuming he's not a pedophile, then it was mutar. The Gemara says, Bislama le Rav Yosef, according to Rav Yosef, I have no contradiction from the Mishnah. Lo kashi, ha beishto, ha beachiv. According to Rav Yosef, is not a question. One Braita who said that it's mutar, and like the first Braita said that it's mutar, that's his wife. The second Braita who said that it's asur, we're not talking about his wife, we're talking about the other family member beside his wife. So the Braita that permit to sleep and to look away, it's his wife, and the Braita that prohibit, and we're talking about his family member, however, not his wife. Ela le Shmuel kashe, but according to Shmuel, he hold that anytime other people and his wife, he hold that other people and his wife allowed to read when they're looking away from each other. If so, according to Shmuel, how would he reconcile this beraita? The Gemara answer, Amalach Shmuel, Rav Yosef, mi nicha? According to Rav Yosef, does it really, according to Rav Yosef, make sense? The Tanya, we said in the Braita, Aya Yashen. So the way Rav Yosef reconciled the question is that the Braita that permit, we're talking about his wife, and the Braita that prohibit, we're talking about the rest of the people in his house, not his wife. But he asked, what was the word of the Mishnah? Ve'atani aya yashen b'mita. Somebody is sleeping in the bed. Ubanav ubne beto b'mita. Who is bne beto of the person? His wife. So the second Braita said clear his wife. Lo יקרא קריאת שמע. He's not allowed to read קריאת שמע. אלא אם כן הייתה טליתו מפסקת ביניהם. Rather, if his the talit was, the cloth was separating between them. So according to Rav Yosef, how can you say the second Braita doesn't talk about his wife when it says clear bnei beto? Bnei beto is meaning his household, these people in his household. The Gemara says, Ela ma yitlach lemeimar. Rather, what do you have to say? We see very clear contradiction in Braitot. One Braita said that his wife it's okay, and the second Braita said his wife it's not okay. Ela ma yitlach lemeimar le Rav Yosef tanoi. We must say according to Rav Yosef that is a machloket of Tanaim, whether for his wife he's allowed to be with him in the bed when he reads Kriyat Shema. The Gemara says, Ledidi nami, says Shmuel, even according to me, will be machloket of Tanaim. According to me, because according to Shmuel, either him and his wife, other people and his wife has the same din. So he said, therefore, just like Rav Yosef, his wife, it's a machloket between the beraitot. Same thing by me, it's a machloket between the two beraitot. Whether other people, Rav Yosef one beraita hold that other people and his wife can be in bed and they look away from each other and read Kriyat Shema. The second beraita talks about also his family member and other people that prohibit to read Kriyat Shema if they are on the same bed. So it says Rav Yosef, according to me, it's also machloket between the beraitot. Amar Mar, we said, Ze machzir panav v'koreh Kriyat Shema, this one look away and read Kriyat Shema. The Gemara asks, Vayika agavot. With all the respect, when you said that they are allowed to look, they're talking about both of them are without clothing in the bed, and they're allowed to look away from each other and read Kriyat Shema, but agavot is the tush, is the back of the body. The Gemara says, it's touching each other. How is that allowed to read Kriyat Shema while they're touching each other? If they are in opposite direction, each was touching the back of each other. The Gemara says, Nesaya le Ravune. That's a proof to Ravone. Do'amar Ravune, agavot, and ba'em mishum erva. He hold that agavot were touching, the back they're touching each other, there is no problem on erva. If the front touching each other, then it's more of a hiru, and it's a problem of erva. The Gemara says, Leima mesaya le Ravune. Maybe I have a proof to Ravune. Ravune said, Aisha, a woman, yoshevet, assuming she has no clothing, she's allowed to sit, yoshevet, vekotza lachalata. She allowed to separate chala when she makes the dough. She is allowed to separate chala aruma even if she is naked and say the beracha. Why? מפני שיכולה לכסות פניה בקרקע. A woman, when she can cover her private area while she's sitting in the ground. אבל לא האיש. A man cannot cover his face on the ground, meaning he cannot really cover himself. Because by man, even if you see it, it's more noticeable. So you see that he holds that on the back of a person is not problem of erva. Because if it is a problem of erva, then she wouldn't be allowed to say bracha like that. The Gemara says, no. Tikkum Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, you know when it's not a problem of erva, only כגון שהיו פניה פתוחות בקרקע. We understood that her back wasn't covered, and only her front was covered, and she's separate chala. But the answer is no, also her back was covered, because she's sitting on the ground. When she's sitting on the ground, most of herself is covered, and therefore she's allowed to separate chala. So you have no proof from here that the back is not considered as erva. It is erva. Why the Mishnah said it? It's okay to separate chala and say bracha because she's sitting on the ground and she's covering it. However, a man, since he cannot cover his, by sitting, he cannot cover his private areas, he cannot say bracha when he separates chala.
So according to Rav Nachman, when he, with his wife in the bed, according to that, he...
עוד שנייה, לא סיימנו, עוד שנייה. אמר מה, the master said, we said in the second ברייתא, אם היו בניו ובני ביתו קטנים מותר, if his children and were קטנים, so older one not allowed to be in bed and say Kriyat Shema without clothing. However, by the way, we're talking about that they cover until their, and their face is outside. Because if they see each other under the bed, it's a problem. They are covered, just their face is outside. So he said, if they were young, it's mutar. Ve'at kama, what's up to what age it's mutar for a man to be with his daughter without clothing in bed? Amar Rav Chizeh, תינוקת up to בת 3 שנים ויום אחד, up to the age of 3 years and 1 day. ותינוק, and a boy, בן ט' שנים ביום אחד, up to the age of 9 years and 1 day. איקי דאמרי Sam said, תינוקת, if she was a girl, בת י"א שנה ביום אחד, until 11 years old in 1 day, ותינוק, and a man, and a baby, meaning a boy, בן 12 שנה ויום אחד. The max age is 12 years and 12 years and 1 day. However, we have an additional limitation. אידי ואידי, both of them, עד כדי שדיים נכונו וצערך שמח. Both of them has another limitation, not only a limitation, if the breast and the hair start on the private area start growing, that shows already they are developed, even on a younger age, will be asur.
If they develop late, then the age takes precedent.
Exactly. Amar le Rav Kahana le Rav Ashi. I just want to emphasize again that assuming the guy is not pedophile and everything is okay with him, and I want to make sure also to emphasize that's the background of the Gemara. Back then, sleeping without clothing was normal, so therefore there was no hirurim, no thinking. Usually, I mean, with all the respect, if a man going to sleep with his son without clothing, will be hirurim today because we don't do that. היום לא, היום חס ושלום, because היום זה מצוין. הלכה wise, if people are thinking, if the whole idea over here, people used to sleep without clothing all time. So if people used to sleep without clothing, you don't think anything. But in our days that everybody sleep with clothing, a man not allowed to sleep with his son, it will cause... they're on the bed. Amar Rav Kahana le Rav Ashi. Hatam Amar Rav, we said earlier, on the end of Rav Gimel Amud Bet, we said today, the Afal Gav de Tiyuvta de Shmuel Alacha Kevatei de Shmuel. Even though we said Shmuel, we questioned it from a Braita, we said earlier Alacha was like him. Achamai here, does Alacha like Shmuel, that other people and his wife allowed to be in bed when he reads Kriyat Shema, or Alacha is not like Shmuel? Amar lei, kula bechad atu kula bechad amachta machtino. Did we say everything on one same time? And if you said everything at the same time, you can conclude that every time Alacha like Shmuel. However, it's not like that. Ela echad itmar. When we said Alacha like Shmuel, Alacha is like him. Echad lo itmar. When we don't say that Alacha is like Shmuel, we didn't say. Amar le Rav Mari le Rav Papa. So therefore, since we didn't say Alacha like Shmuel, by us, we don't say that Alacha is like Shmuel. Only when we said Alacha is like him, then we know it's like him, like we said earlier. Amar le Rav Mari le Rav Papa. Amari asked Rav Papa, Se'ar yotze bevigdo ma'u. If its hair comes out of his clothing, we're talking about from his private area, and hair comes out, can he read many years, let's say underwear, and the hair comes out of it? Ma'u, what's the din? Kara alei se'ar שיער, hair, what's the problem? It's only hair, and it's not a problem. להלכה, only by men it's fine, by a woman it's not okay. אמר רב יצחק, טפח באישה ערווה. Any tefach, any the size of a fist by a woman is considered as erva. Erva, it's a, how do you say in English, erva?
Naked.
It's considered as naked. Okay. The Gemara says, lemai, what do we need to teach us this thing? If you're referring to look on a woman, on a tefach of a woman, so up to a tefach of a woman, you're allowed, meaning up to a tefach, you're allowed to look on a woman. More than that, size of a tefach, of a fist. Yeah. So if you see that person on a woman, you're allowed to see. More than that, you're not allowed to look at her. So if he's referring to that, which doesn't make sense, if it's referring that you're allowed to look on a woman up to a tefach. So if you're allowed to look on her up to a tefach, more than a tefach, her skin. Yeah, if it's uncovered, we're talking about.
That's why.
Yeah, נחילה. The Gemara says, ואמר רב ששת, למה מנע כתוב תכשיטים שבחוץ עם תכשיטים שבפנים? When they were, בני ישראל conquered Midian, the Torah lists together all of the jewelry that they took from them that is supposed to be tahor in the mikveh, but all of the jewelry that they used to wear outside of the body, and those who were in private areas in the body. Why the Torah listed together? לומר לך to teach you a message. כל המסתכל באצבע קטנה של אישה, even men are looking on the finger of a woman, כאילו מסתכל במקום התורף, as if he's looking on her private area. That's why the Torah count the jewelry outside and the jewelry inside to tell you it's the same thing. So it is possible that you're not allowed, that the tefach is referring that up to tefach you're allowed to look. Because if a man looking on a woman for a purpose of looking at her to see how beautiful she is, even if you're looking at the tip of her finger, it's also prohibited as if he was looking on a private area, because a man not allowed to look at a woman in any form, in any way. So where is the size of tefach apply to? The Gemara says, Ela beishto v'likriyat shma. We are referring to his wife, and regarding kriyat shma, when a man wants to read kriyat shma, and the tefach on his wife, it's on cover, we're talking about tefach that is usually covered. Tefach is usually covered. If it's uncovered, that's considered as an erva, and the man not allowed to kriyat shma in front of his wife. If it's on cover over here, tefach, you're allowed to read in front of her. Sing they're used to. Like if a woman is used to, if used to cover up to here, if she's above that, then it's not allowed. It all depends what he's used to.
This is why the face doesn't count.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. אמר רב חיסדא, שוק באישה ערווה, חטף שוק, no. שוק באישה, the thigh of a woman is considered as an ערווה, שנאמר, גלי שוק, it says in the, איפה זה? ישעיה, you covered your thigh, עברי נהרות, you cross rivers, וכתיב, it says on that, תגל ערוותך, it's the equivalent of covering the thigh. He said, the erva, the Torah pasuk describe it as an erva, v'gam tireh cherpatcha, it's going to see your shame. So the pasuk who's talking about uncover your thigh, the following pasuk treat it as an erva. So any shok ba'isha, any thigh of a woman, is considered as erva.
But isn't it obvious if you said the fingers?
So he's right. But I think here we're talking about the previous one. We're talking about when he is looking at her. Here, Stam in general, even if somebody is not looking at her, any woman should know that when the thigh is uncovered, it's a rava. So it's not appropriate in any form. Looking at her with a purpose to look for her beauty, then even in the tip of the finger. Amar Shmuel, another thing, kol ba'isha erva. Even the voice of a woman, it's an erva. שנאמר, כי קולך ערב ומראך נווה. Your voice is, it's tasty and you look good. So you see that the voice of a woman affect the mind of people.
It's a turn on.
What?
Like a turn on.
Right, turn on. אמר רב ששת, שיער באישה ערווה. Hair by a woman is considered ערווה also. שנאמר, שערך כעדר העזים. Your hair is like a flow of a flocks of goat, which is a beauty thing that obviously attract people.
Goats?
Yeah, it was hot back in the day.
No, not the beer of the goat.
מה יפה בגוט? אבל לא מבין.
תגיד לאישה שהשיער שלה יפה כמו שיער של גוט.
That's what I'm saying. You look like the goat.
זה מה שהיא
Shake the face. Shake the face.
Okay, one more. Right, doesn't bring explanation over there. I think it's like Ederizim, it's a flow of God that create attention. That's a pshat. Also, a hair of a woman.
Also, the goats, right? They have long hair. There's goats with really, really long hair.
That's a pshat, yeah?
I think, you know.
Okay. Yes, there are school.
He's getting
It says in the English that it comes out of the Song of Songs. So the thing is, goes, "You are beautiful, my love. Your hair is like a flock of goats streaming down from Mount Gilead."
Okay,
So I guess
so
that's
it's like if something
applies to
flow
it.
and it's okay.
Oh, it's a metaphor then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
metaphor.
it's
Yeah,
something about beauty and love.
אמר רב חנינא, בוא, I'm gonna miss you. אמר רב חנינא, אני ראיתי, I saw that Rabbi, שתלה תפיליו, he hanged his tefillin on a hook, he hanged it on a hook. The Gemara says, how can he do that? It states, Bryce said that he's not allowed to. מי טבעי, ואז חומי ברייתא, התולה תפיליו, somebody who hanged his tefillin, יתלו לו חייו, his life will be hanged. So how can you hang tefillin? דורשי חמורות אמרודו זו, הוא learned the דברים חמורים, the דברים severe, והיו חייך תלויים לך מנגד, your life will be hanging in front of you. זה התולה תפילה, somebody was hanging this tefillin. So you're not allowed to hang tefillin. How come Rabbi hang the tefillin? To answer. The Gemara says, לא קשה. ברצועה, בקציצה. Depends where you're holding it. If you hang the tefillin with the רצועה, with the knot at the end, and that's how you hold it,
Dangling.
that's אסור. But if you hold it in the קציצה, in the square, in the front, then it's okay. והיא בהתאמה, לא שנה רצועה ולא שנה קציצה. אסור, some hold either way, it's אסור to hang it like that. However, וכית על הרבי בכיסתא תלה. Rabbi hanged it with a bag. He hanged on the bag on a hook. The Gemara says, שכוח, אחי, מה אלה ממרי? What's the חידוש? You put it on a bag on a hook. מה עוד? תאימה תיבאי הנחה כספר תורה. Maybe you're going to think it's supposed to be stand like a ספר תורה. כמה שמלן, with כבוד. No, lay down, meaning like a ספר תורה. כמה שמלן, that even hanging it, it's okay for tefillin. עד כאן, can you turn up the video? חזרה.